guy named Greg Capra and Oliver Velez. All right, so T3 owns it now. But there's something called stages, right? And so I'll just cover it like this. And you always want to start from the higher time frames first, right? Never asked y'all a question. Y'all were right. All right, I asked y'all what's going to win, the 60 and the 30 or the 5 and the 2? And what was the right answer? 60 and 30 is winning out right now, okay? This is what's working out right now. All right, so that said, you always want to get your stages from the higher time frames first, okay? So this is all it is. The markets do a bunch of what? They go up, right? They go down, and then they either go back up or they come what? Back down, okay? So stage 1 is going to be what's called a range stage, okay? It's going to be what's called accumulation stage, stage 1. All right, so let me draw this on the board here. All right, so we have what's called range stage, right? And this is stage 1. Typically going to be accumulation. How do you know it's accumulation? We're going to go through multiple time frame analysis, okay? Those dojis on the weekly that I showed you, those inside bars, was stage 1 accumulation at weekly level. It's recorded. All right, so after, okay, the market's either going to remain sideways or either do one of 3 things. Either do go what? Up, sideways, or down. So let's just say this is going to be up, right? So this is what's called stage 2. And what's a stage 2? It's going to be bullish period. It's going to be uptrend, right? Stage 2. Okay? And we have what? Impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, yeah? Yeah. Pretty simple. Okay? Now we got to know this on all time frames. Impulse correction, impulse correction. Okay. Now, does that last forever? No, nothing lasts forever. Okay? So then we come up to what's called the topping stage, right? And what is that going to be labeled as? Stage 3.
Stage 3. No.
So this is stage 3, kind of topping, right? Topping. And then this is range. What's that?
Mimic stage 1?
Correct. Just on the top distribution. Accumulation, distribution. Trend, auto-regression. And this is mean reversion for either a continuation, what? Up or down. Now, could this be a stage 1?
Yes.
It could, because if this did what? A fakey breaky here and then did this,
Right.
that was not stage 3 distribution, it was what?
Stage 1.
Stage 1 accumulation for what? Accumulation based what break. So it's either going to have a stage what? 2, continuation, or stage 4,
Yep.
which is going to be what? Downtrend.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay? Okay, and then in this case we have what? Follow through, and then what? Lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs. And then after 4 comes what again?
1.
Stage 1. Okay? Now, could this be a stage 3?
Yes.
Could this be a stage 3?
Yes.
Why? How? This could be a what? This could be a base what? Pause break, and if it breaks down from this range, that's going to be stage 4 continuation out of stage 3.
Yep.
So 1 and 3s are what? Those sideways bases, okay? Those sideways bases. Now, what's going to happen? If I have a daily uptrend stage 2, okay? Let's act like this. We have a daily uptrend stage 2, okay? What is the bigger time frame on dailies? Weeklies and monthlies. So how do we get perspective of where this stage 2 uptrend is going to at least pause and slow down at what? Weekly and monthly. And then typically, if you ever noticed, after a daily uptrend, it comes to monthly what? Monthly and weekly. That's when the daily impulse correction segments start to do what? Halt. And then they don't make no new what? No new highs and no new lows. If that continues, that's the market telling you, slow down. It's basing and ranging. Now, if it's going to break out to the upside, it's going to do what? Make a new high. If it's going to break out to the downside, then we're going to be down. Now, during these stages, we have to be careful. Why? Why am I circling over here? And why would I be circling like right up here?
Would that support resistance? No?
Yes, but that's not what I'm looking for. The answer. Good job, though.
Okay.
Are market makers out here to try to take you out before it goes?
Wicked.
Okay? So over here we have a lot of what?
Wick.
Fakey breakies.
Yeah.
Does Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why a lot of traders will typically like wait for the break, an actual break, and then what?
Then get it.
Then have what? Retest,
Yeah.
and then have go, or in this case, new lower high, then get in. Does that make sense? So typically most traders will wait for a break, okay, to kind of get away from that fakey breaky shit. So break out, pull back, and then what? Then it goes. So let me show you an example of that. Okay? So everybody with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
So the market literally just did it.
We just did it. Nice. Should have kept going with futures, but options are working out pretty well. All right, my credits. Nice. I got to take some credit out of here, right?
Yep.
Let me sell some of this out. We got to trade live. Got to get this. Hold on. 41, 20, 41. What is that? 20 by 100?
Yep. 4120 by 4100.
Shit, definitely made me work today. All right, cool. Getting back on track. I'll show you an example. So on monthly, weekly. All right, so I have monthly on the left, I have weekly on the right, in the middle, and I have daily on the left. Okay? So, some of y'all are new, but there's something called an inside bar. Y'all know what an inside bar is? Okay? That means it's called the harami. So, this is the weekly. I'm just going to give you the answer. So, you see I have a weekly low in here, and a weekly high in here. Now, why is this important is because we're at a monthly what? Level, location. All right, so real estate, location, 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 location. Okay? So, these are multiple monthly lows in here, right? But what is the weekly doing? It's doing what?
Ranging.
What does range mean? It's either going to be a stage 1 or stage 3, right? So sideways. Because if I look at the daily, right here, this is why I always say, just start from the high time frames and map out. I have the checklist that I give y'all, right? On that book that I shared. Map out yesterday and last week's high, last week's low. So if you're tracking this last week's high here, last week's high here, did this week break out? If no breakout, that means what? Range. If range means what? Either stage 1 or stage 3. More on that in a bit. Right here, this is going to be the breakout bar. Y'all see that?
Yes.
This is going to be the breakout bar. Okay? Now, if I'm looking at the monthly picture, is the monthly picture down or up? Down in here in this area when we're looking at this area here. And be factual. Don't fuck around. Somebody already said down, which is right. Does that make sense? So we are in a downtrend. Just hit some profit on these. Okay? So I'm already covering these bonds, right? Because I sell credit. Alright? So you don't like, oh, I'm wrong. Like just if you know what you're doing now, I did out deploy capital, about 50, 60 grand to do that. Alright? But I did what's called a bull put credit spread. Alright, so I'm starting to sell out of these. Alright? Because I did more size on those than these. So I bought puts that are probably going to be 0 today, but I'm selling puts with value, and I'm taking money out to cover that loss as I'm waiting for my longs to work out. Okay? All right, cool. And that made me work to do that today. Thank you, Jordan. Shout out to Jordan in the back. He's going to be a legend. He already is a legend. All right, so inside bar, inside bar, inside bar at monthly lows, right? And this was a pivot low at some point, right? Made a new low. So this is going to be an area, we don't cut through candles, but usually when you get good at technical analysis, you'll see that this is going to be a head and shoulders pattern, okay? It is a head and shoulders pattern, and we officially kind of broke that out right now. Which is why the 60 today, even though on mortgage gap failure, this thing's ripping, insane, crazy. I've never seen that in my career. All right, first time for everything, right? All right, so anyways, back to this. So this is going to be a stage 1 or 3. Now, this should be, if it's going to be the trend down, because we're below the 20 on monthly, and we're below the 20 factual on the what? On the weekly as well. All right, so this should be a stage what? 3. Good job, Marcia. Because if this is a downtrend, this should be stage 3, which would be continuation stage 4.
Right.
Okay, great job. But it became a stage 1 when, where, and why?
Because it rallied, so it went to stage 2.
Because out of this breakout range, you see the daily? I could draw a box right here. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay? So what happens is the next bar on the weekly, it gapped up and it closed outside of the what? Range with a bottoming tail. Does that make sense? And it's back above the 20. Okay, so if I bring my finger here, that's going to be what? Right here, right?
Yes.
All right, so now check out what's happening. Remember I told you, traders would typically wait for the what? The break. Did we get a break?
Yes.
Out of this stage,
Out of the range.
Stage.
now it's going to be not a stage 3, it's a stage
One.
what?
One.
1.
Yep.
So it was accumulation stage, back
Yeah.
above 20, right? Okay, so then we had our first initial what? Breakout. So now we're back above the 20 on weekly.
Yeah.
We already did, right? Harami, the Japanese name is harami, pregnancy bar, inside bar. Okay, so this is what's called the mother bar. This is the baby. Okay, and now she's giving what?
Right.
She's finally giving birth. Okay, she's finally giving birth. And so when we were breaking back above here, we did a what? Breakout, retest, and then this is going to be Jordan, right? This is going to be changing the guard right here, back above 20. Since then, what stage did this kick off the daily into?
One,
Two.
Stage 2 uptrend. You with me? Okay. So you see how that is? All right. So you gotta kind of put that all together. All right. You gotta put that all together. So we're in a stage. We are still in a stage what? We're still in a stage 2. Okay. And it's a strong stage 2 for right now, right? So typically greater or equal force, laws of inertia. Okay. Greater or equal force. We would probably need some what? Weeklies and monthlies for us to do what? Get to a stage what?
3.
Stage 3 basing range. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're in a trend. We're in an uptrend right now on that, and see how that's kind of put all that together.
Yeah.
All right. Now let me erase this. Now, if I get my stages from the higher time frames, all right. Now what we want to do is execute off the small time frames. The 20 is super important. And you know, I think most of y'all have this, but this kind of just explains the stages, but it's just uptrend, downtrend, right? And it gives a couple of examples here. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? And then price can only go up, down, and sideways, right? So anatomy of an uptrend. Okay? So once you have the stages on the higher time frames, okay, so right now we have daily in stage 2 up, weekly in stage 2 what? Up. And monthly is kind of like, it's basing, but it's kind of sideways right now. Does that make sense? All right, so there's trends within that monthly time frame. Now, if the weekly and the daily is up, what is the 60 and the 30 going to be? Most likely up. Does that make sense? So if I go to the 60 and the 30, well, we already covered this morning. In fact, it's actually working out to a T today, okay? Because if I scale this back, they filled that gap. If I scale this back, what trend do you see? Uptrend. And so here's the 20 and the 50. All right, the 20 and the 50. All right, 20 and the 50 on the 60. All right, so we see higher, 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 low, higher, 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 low. Here's core strategy 101 right here. Literally right here, right? Isn't that the move up breakout? Pull back right in there, and VWAP, and we have the 20 and the 50 right there. Blah, blah, blah. Even today, shout out Jordan, right? We were talking about how we gapped down, but I said we're gapping down right in what? Right at that buy zone on that 20, all right? And is it still working out?
Yep.
It's still working out, all right? So even on the prop strategy, we already know that was a what? Higher high, higher low, all right? And I put this all together with this thing here that you guys are probably annoyed with seeing.
we
Older
love
folk,
that.
people that have been here for a while now, but we have new people in here, all right? That's the quadrant, all right? So it's going to be an uptrend quadrant. So defined by higher high, higher lows, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction. A rising 20 period moving average. Was that period moving average rising?
Yeah.
It was being used as support, right? And then rising 50. All right, I don't use the 40. All right, Earl, this is what I was talking about. I know you were reading the book because you said 40, but I use the 50 because it's more versatily ranged in the industry, or used more in the industry. And then relatively even space. So were those moving averages squiggly, or were they nice and what? We call it train tracks. They were nice, smooth. That's a nice, smooth uptrend because you want to get in good condition. Does that make sense? So now that everything aligns up, because you want to have, now let me pause right there. In a stage 1 and 3, do moving averages work at all?
Stage 1,
No.
3, no.
Why?
It's range.
Because it's range. So let me paint that picture for you. Okay, let me paint that picture for you. This was that box range on dailies, right? Okay, so if I take this is my high range, that red box here. I'm gonna make this green down here. And y'all know why I'm referencing this area, right? That area right here is this right in here. Does that make sense? All right, and you have to know that we're basing below that 20 here and below that 20 here. All right, so this is why as a trader, you're just waiting for things to develop and line up. Now, check this out. I'm just gonna make this green. So this is gonna be a stage 1 or 3. All right, but I'm gonna add the 20 and the 50, and I'm gonna go to the 60-minute time frame just to show you how worthless. Not really. Actually, it's making me eat my. It's kind of like that a little bit here. So typically, all right. So you notice what's happening here. All right, it's nice and open over here to the right, but now we're hitting that monthly area, and the mother bar weekly is starting to do what? Go sideways. All right, so you can see what's happening. No new lows, no new highs, right? No new lows, no new highs. No new lows, no new highs. And so see how these moving averages were now down, but they're doing what now? They're stopping, and then we finally got our, why did I circle right there, folks? Break out, retest. Is now the moving averages fanned up after the breakout happened, but it took what? 2 to 3 what? 2 to 3 weeks. That's why if you're on the weekly and you map out last week's high, last week's low, and you're inside of that, and it's Friday, guess what? There's probably no what? No trend. All right, so you have to change your. Are we trading in the middle of this? No. On range, you want to stay away from what?
The middle.
The middle. Okay, so what happens is range traders are going to start to sell high, buy low, sell high, buy low. Eventually, range traders high are going to get what? Stopped out. Or the range traders on the daily side, on the low range, is going to eventually get what? Stopped out. Doesn't that have to happen for markets to go from a certain range condition to a trend condition up or down? It has to. All right, so typically, okay, so range traders are finally getting stopped out, but do we have push out? Do we have correction? Ever since then, gone. Does that make sense? Because now we have what? The mother is what? Pushed out, break out, and then now it's going into that environment. If we were waiting for 3 weeks in range, and then now it breaks out, the next week or two could what? That's the time to trade it and hit it. Does that make sense? Okay?
So that breakout would be either stage 2 or stage 3. Stage 2 would be a rally at
Stage
5,
3.
and
Yes,
stage 4
I love
would
how you
be
said that, Mike. Perfect.
Stage
okay?
4 would be a short in sell, right?
All this would have done, yes, you are right. Yes, sir. And what the other side would have looked something like this. It would have came down, tested, right?
Yep.
And then what it would have done? Boom. And then typically, what do you get from here?
A pullback or a reversion.
That's it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's it. But did it do that? It didn't. What location were we at? Monthly what? Monthly level. Okay? So monthly level was down here, and so we had weeklies and dailies stuck. Does that make sense? If I'm inside of a weekly inside bar for like the second or third week, I'm not even really looking at the 60. Does that make sense? Because all I'm looking at is the extremes of what? The mother bar. Always listen to your mother, right? So I'm looking to look at the extremes of the mother bar. If the mother bar is not broken, then what? There's no life of the market. It has to be born, break out one side or the other. Does that make sense? All right? And the thing about this was it was a breakout above weekly and daily 20 EMA. Does that make sense? After a base break. All right? So this would have been stage 4 from stage 3. But to Mike's point, it was proven, the market tells us the truth. Okay? It was a stage 1 breaking out to a stage 2 uptrend. Does that make sense? And that's just the facts of it. All right? Now, if I go back here, the anatomy of higher, higher, higher lows. So we put that on, and they give us a couple of examples. Okay, so does this look like the S&Ps that we are referencing here? So once that broke out, does it look like, does that picture on the left look like live market data? I'm sorry, picture on the right look like live market data spies on the left? You get it? All right, but on the 60, all right, couple of weeks ago, it was not doing that. Why? Because it was in a different stage. Okay? Does that make sense? Remember in the market timing class, I was talking about you don't want to be the guy. You could do that. Could we go to the beach right now and go swimming? We could, right? But it's not the condition to do so. All right. So the condition is what now? Trending. Okay. So even like on this big mortgage gap down, all right, that's how. So I mean, this is core 101. I mean, isn't that the move out breakout segment? That's move out breakout segment and prop buy zone. All right, now what prop does for us too is allows us to get in on trades that potentially may not hit. So in all fairness, let's say core strategy. Let's say you had a level right here of demand. Is that fair? Did it get there? It did not. Right? And that happens sometimes in core, right? Anthony missed the freaking oil trade by like 3 ticks yesterday, right? Like, it sucks, right? But it's just part of trading. He wasn't bitching about it, right? But he just said, like, hey.
I was actually happy I was right.
Yeah, he was like, I'm right, but
I know,
you know,
like that sounds like you should be, like, because it's a numbers game. Run it again.
Yeah.
Run it again. Run it again. That's it. Yeah, you really gotta hurry up, man.
Shino.
I've been.
All right, then go do your thing.
Why don't you mad? When
I'm not mad. I never get mad. What am I, bro? How to be
You
mad?
get fucking mad all the time.
I'm not mad, bro. I'm too positive to be mad. You want me to be mad or something?
What you saying, man? You trying
Well, I'm trying to teach you something, but I mean, if you want to do something, you could, but I can't just like rush through this, you know.
how
I'm
much
trying to
longer-
get them to speed with what we're doing
How
here.
much longer
I
you got
know,
on it?
thank you.
Just do your thing.
What's
I gotta charge my laptop anyways, so we can just pause this and put it
Can
in.
you pause this and then just come back at it? Alright,
problem.
do that. You guys good with that?
Because that's going to be the lows, Friday lows. That's a 33% correctional phase right here. So that's the futures that I'm trying to take on that. Let me see this real quick. I should be taking some profit on my Qs. Actually, those are not printing as big as what I thought. I can wait on that. All right, so we have a gap down, pulling back up a bit. Dollar strong. All right, so we're looking at this VIX green, and we have a bottoming tail on VIX so far. So if this thing continues, there's overnight high in VIX, overnight low. So if this thing continues to pick up, and we break and we hold above that VIX level, this market's looking quite bearish, even more. All right, if you wanted to get a put debit on, all right, obviously we're going to be in a sell side signal. Let me double check that, make sure. So gapping, we're inside of the zone on 30 minutes, and we're on top of the 20 on the 60. All right, first, you know, some people would elect to wait first 15 minutes of the opening day's range. All right, 411.75 is a breakout retest level in SPX. All right, so that is noteworthy as well, right? So what was once a prior high has broke and is kind of being used as support on the other side. All right, so this is why I am being patient and kind of letting this fill the gap a little bit. Does that make sense?
Order fill.
All right, so futures are filling. All right, sticking my neck out a little bit. Looks like it might be a little bit early on that because the actual prior day's low is a little bit more higher in SPYs. All right, but futures filled a little bit there. All right, one out of the two got filled. All right, now I got my stop to 1-to-1. Does that make sense? Okay, I got my stop to 1-to-1. Stop loss in there. All right, so we'll see. And if I'm doing the same thing in futures here, here's yesterday's
Order
low.
fill.
So that's a second add. All right, I got my 5-point stop, fixed stop. So in futures, 53 comes in prior day's low. And if I pull in a fib on this one, yesterday's close, today's open, and that's filling 33%, 41.50s. Okay, so I got my stops in, 5-point stop. I'm going to leave one runner, right? So I'm going to bring my target on one of these way down as a runner. Okay, but I got my 5-point stop on this for the $500 count challenge. Do a gap down in futures. All right, so for bought debits, all right, we did touch a little bit here. So if for SPX traders, take a look at VIX. VIX is dumping a little bit here. Y'all see that? Nothing too crazy, but you just want to look at it. It's really early. But we can kind of prepare kind of prepare our SPX potential bot debits. All right, let this come down, let this let this 2 minute come to the 20. All right, so we're above VWAP, so we're gonna get ready, right? Because at any moment we can get change of the guard, and we're gonna have to pull trigger. Okay, so let's work on SPX debits right now while we have time.
Okay.
So, that said, the average true range of SPX is 71.
71.
Okay? Expected market maker range today is
34, 34.46, you said 35?
30, yeah, 35. If you're taking futures, make sure you're following your rule. You're either going to get stopped out 5 points, or you're going to get hit a 1-to-1 of 5 points with a runner on. Okay? All right. All right. So back to SPX. And this is very early, right? So if this is going to be the low for the day, which is probably not going to be, 71 would be the ATR. So we're talking about what, 4,200 on the upside?
Yeah.
If this is going to be the high of the day, which it's probably not going to potentially be, but we're just using this as a base case, 71, we're looking at what, 40, call it 70 in SPX. Does that make sense? All right, so that's ATR stretch range, okay? So now if I take the expected market make a move, basically 35, all right, if we wanted to buy a debit, what's 41.35 minus 35 basically?
41.
That'd be about 4,100. So we can maybe look at what, buying a debit down in here. Does that make sense? If we're going to be remaining bearish. Okay? Now, we don't have the signal just yet. Does that make sense? Because what's happening? Are we above, below VWAP?
We're above it.
You know, we're above it. So this is going to be a hard long, but I mean, it is a decent long right now, but you know, I'm still going to just be a patient bear. Does that make sense? Patient bear. So what we could do is this. We can get our anchor unit already prepared. So I'm going to go to the SPX, today's expiration, drop that down. Jordan already nailed it. We're going to be looking at 4,100, give or take. Do I have open interest there?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, 4K. All right, so we could look at potentially buying this, and then if I buy that one, I'm going to sell one against it at 40.90. This creates a spread. Right now they're going, so that's stop top on futures. All right, no worries, no worries. All right, so on this one, we're preparing this one. This is going to be a bought put debit. All right, so we have low risk, high reward. Just want to check this signal. All right, good. So we got some time to get this ready. I need that VIX to come back up if we're going to remain bearish, though. All right, so we're going to continue to take a peek at this. Volume on SPX. Down. Okay, cool. Everything's still checking out. All right, so if we have this one prepared already, it's going to be going for 145. If you wanted to get it a bit cheaper, you can go down a little bit if you'd like. You could do maybe a 40.90, buy a 40.80. Those are going for 110 right now. $15. That's interesting. These are pumping up while the markets are going up. So premium is telling me a little something here. Just stay focused. Cool. All right, I'm going to pull the trigger on this one, folks. This is 90 cents. I'm just going to head and pull the trigger on this one. I'm going to be buying the 40.90, selling the 40.80 for a bought put debit. It's going for 90 cents right now. I'm comfortable with just losing that full spread. Does that make sense? This is for today's expiration. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that one here. I'm already freaking in it. So I got to buy the 85. I got to sell the 70. So y'all can do that one right there with my cursors on.
90 and 80.
Yes, sir. I got to do a different one because I'm so layered down here. All right, what's your fill, Kane, Singapore?
95 cents.
All right, so King got filled on this 95.
Got $1.
Got $1. Cool. So we bought this put. This is going to be bearish, right? So this is our 40.90 anchor. We sold this put. This is going to be our 40.80 offset. All right, so anchor and offset. All right, now we want these prices to go what? Up, right? So Kane got filled 95 cents, right? $95, and KG got filled up. All right? Now, and I got filled probably like whatever that ding was. I'll give you my fill. Mine was a little bit different on the spread, but I'm going to use yours. I got filled at 110 on my spread. All right, but it's a little bit different, but I'm going to be tracking this one here. All right, now, if this market continues to rally, all right, if this market, we got to make sure VIX needs to
VIX is
come up.
dumping.
Yeah, VIX is dumping a little bit.
So I went full Greg the Gapper this morning. I planned the put side as well. But I mean,
You got long call.
yeah, VIX dumped. Market's just going up. I'm riding that wave.
He might also come down to 10, I don't know.
Yeah, Apple actually just did a whole complete turnaround flip. Tesla too. Yeah, that VIX dump is real so far. So far. We haven't really taken out the overnight lows though, right?
No,
So still be a bit patient.
we're still below everything. So 20 just flipped. 200.
Yeah, I want to see what this looks like kind of up here.
Yep.
I kind of want to see what that looks like up here.
Yep. I got aggressive. I went full Greg.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, at the end of the day, because that gap down right there at that 20, that's why I'm keeping risk small right now. You know, it's still early. But you took that gap down right off, like right into the 20 where it's extension. So, you know, you almost be like, when it's coming up here, you kind of want to scale out. I don't know if you have the day trade rule or not.
Yeah.
But this is what challenge was. What I'm trying to do is like give trades that could be good for like the whole day, and so you know you kind of almost have to go against morning vibes sometimes for that. But if you're still going to work on the put side just for right now, okay, for right now, we could prepare this, and this would probably be the last one that I would prepare, and then I have to wait for everything to flip back above here and back above the 20 on the 5 and the 2, all right, for me to get really kind of a little bit more extensively long. So if this SPX comes up to about 4160s, what does this spread look like? What did I say, 4160s? I want to pick up this one. So this is basically saying that this is going to be valued at about $1. Okay, so I'm going to put one more order in on the put side just for right now on this fade rally. So, but I'm not going to get in right now. I'm going to condition it to 4160. Okay, so we're already in this. Okay, those are break even. I'm going to right click because I want to get in this one. All right, now the only thing with this is what's happening. I can't get in this one. Why?
Because of the number.
Because I'm overlapped. So you might want to bring this one up to 4105 and then do a 95. Okay? And then let's condition this. This is basically saying, yeah, that we'll still be able to get these for what's 140 minus 50. Right, it's going to be about another 90 center. Okay? But we're not getting in right now. We're waiting for it to come up to 4160. Okay? Y'all with me? So I'm going to right click. Make sure you change that to 4105. 4095, right click, create duplicate. I'm going to condition this over here with the settings. I want to buy this put debit market. It's a day trade. Condition to SPX, market price equal to or above 4160, double enter. See that?
4160.
4160. So I'm buying that spread right there. So that's the full order.
Market.
Put put that in. And then I'm gonna be waiting for,
Said equal to or above 4160.
yep,
So what if I put an expiration on this for like Monday?
I do have a couple of those on. Yeah, you could do that as well. I have a couple of put debits on for, I think, even next Wednesday.
I'm gonna put this one on.
$41.60.
What are you trying to get these at?
These are probably going to be priced at about 90 cents,
97.
but I'm conditioning it to get in at 41.60. All right, so we're already in the other spread, so I'm just sticking to the plan, and see if we get these. Like if these don't fill, that means that this is probably not coming up. Does that make sense? That means that the SPX is not coming up. So I got my one last little like hoorah here. I mean, I'll see if this is going to fill the gap 100% up there. It could fill the gap. Does that make sense? It could fill the gap. I mean, right now we are above VWAP, and that's just the facts. That's just facts.
4160 at market, right?
Yeah, at market. All right, so this one, this one right here. They're going for 140 right now. We're not buying them right now because we can get these probably for like 50, 60 bucks cheaper. Because we are waiting for the SPX to come up to 41.60s. Okay, trading 41.47 right now. Okay, so right now it's having a little bit of trouble. It looks like it wants to break 41.50s, and that is a major number too. But what's the VIX doing, y'all? No, but it's putting in a little bit of a. I mean, we'll see. It's really early in the morning right now. Opening day's range just got put in. I mean, some folks don't even take trades unless the opening day's range is put in. All right, but right now, opening day's range is above VWAP.
Hey, I gotta come on at 11. Is that good?
Okay, cool.
Alright. Look at, we're packed. It's cold outside. You want another table? You don't want a table? Yeah, I'll get you a table. Y'all can always grab them. Hey, Nicholas! Yeah, we're good.
Apple's making new highs. So we see more red, but that's mainly due to the gap downs, right? But so far they're clicking up. I think advanced declines are probably up. All right, so we're about to get changed. We got changed the guard back above 20 on twos. Advanced declines are clicking up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna remain patient here. we're about to get filled on that. That's my last raw there on that. These things are away. So Apple, oh, this is an old VWAP. I'm looking at the wrong thing. All right, so Apple immediately engulfed the gap down. Amazon gap down. So those gap downs are being bought up. Interesting, even Tesla, Meta, Microsoft. What's AMCR doing? I love trading AMCR.
You do like that. What is that?
It's a stock that I just trade pretty well. With this mix right now. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and take. I'm gonna take this.
Order filled.
I just hit futures short. I only did half risk block on it, and I'm going off of the 200 and the 20 back above the 50. So right now we're below. We're above VWAP. All right. So usually I like to be below VWAP. All right. So either I'm gonna get stopped out here. All right. For shorts to really start to really come in, I need to be back below
Order
what?
filled.
Yeah.
All right, so we got stopped out on that. All right, so I still have to wait for this though, because right now it's in like a sticky spot. All right, but that 60 and the 30 buy zone is working out pretty well, right? If you wanted to take this change of the guard long, you could do that. You could do that. That's not closed yet, but we haven't really broke back above the 20 on 2s and 5s. We are above it on the 60s. But I can wait. SPX is probably about to fill on the 4160s. But Fang is really punching back.
Yeah.
That's why I want to be patient. It's happening. Possibly.
Short. Just got stopped out.
All right, I'm gonna take another stab at this. We have change of the guard happening on the
Order
5.
filled.
All right, I'm just gonna do half wrist block. Half wrist block. All right, I like that coming in right now. See? All right, so who's gonna win? The 60s and 30s, or the 5s and 2s?
60s.
All right, place your bets. No, I'm not betting. I'm not a betting man. All right, right now that bar, that's a nasty bar coming on 5s though. All right, we'll see. All right, they filled what percent of the gap? 50%, right? There's a nasty bar coming in. All right, we'll see. But are we above below VWAP? We're above it, so we still have to let that crack. But that's a nice bar coming in, right? Well, for shorts. All right, we'll see. Now, I'm going to use this. I'm going to sell some credit. Apple and team is just slaying to the upside. Damn, if you have no skills trading, I feel bad for you this year. This market's nuts. Vic is trying to put in some bids. If you don't know how to trade, good luck.
Order filled.
So it'll push through. So this is being pinched. Y'all see it? It's pinched right now. It's pinched. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sell some credit. I'm gonna sell some credit. Vix ain't telling me nothing. Bottom tail off VWAP, and it's just pinched right now. It just is what it is. This client's up. Volume on New York Stock Exchange is flat on S&Ps. VIX is trying to make it click higher. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sell stop order below here because that's going to be what's called change of the guard. All right, we have it. So I'm going to put a sell stop order in futures at 41.5250s. 41.5250s. So I'm going to let this actually give me the signal. So I put that down here. So this would have to be bottoming tail failure. Okay. Now what's the VIX doing? And we have bottoming tail back up off VWAP. What's the VIX doing? It's not telling me much. All right. We can play the long short game. Right now we do have a bottoming tail off VWAP, and yeah, I'm just gonna wait. So I'll sell some cred. It's making me work today for sure.
That's definitely been a huge lesson I've learned over the past couple of months is just to wait, especially
Yeah.
with options.
Wait for it to open up. This is trying to push though. It's trying to push. Y'all see what's happening, right?
Yep.
So we could start preparing longs essentially. I mean,
Yeah, you could.
showing us. Kind of wants to.
Yeah, you could. So ATR? I mean, I'll just do market maker expected. So 35. So what's 35? So you're looking at like 85, 90s. So basically, like be the even numbers here today, right? So if you are looking to go long, you could do the 42s. Fat OI there, 6, and then we have 42.10s. If you wanted to get some long exposure, it costs you $1 right now. All right, now I'm so short, I'm almost about to just pull the trigger just for a hedge. We're getting that right now, so I'm going to trigger.
Order filled. Order
All right, so I
filled.
just got long futures. You could buy this 42.10. All right, I'll do that, but it's still not. See the VIX. See how VIX is clicking higher a bit. So it's tricky today. It's tricky. I get chopped.
Order filled.
See, both sides are getting stopped out. It's getting chopped, man. I gotta stop. Apple's ripping.
Order filled.
Apple's ripping, but Apple's ripping, but I got stopped out of my long. SPY.
That is going to.
Finally.
Wow, this is mixed as hell. All right, I'm gonna sell credit. And I should stop trading right now, right? Because we're dead smack in the middle of what? Blowbacks and like right on these MAs. Like it's mean reversion, all mean reversion right now. But Apple's on a tear. Like, what are you doing? Google filled its cap. But spies are having a hard time. All right.
Is there data at 10?
Yes. PMI's coming out, I don't know how much.
Yeah, we gotta wait. It's stuck.
Kate, you said PMI is about right for now?
Order filled.
All right, so that's an entry.
Let's see what's going on with the Dixie.
So PMI is
Since,
at 10.
Yeah, let's see what's going on with the Dixie.
All right, so